Anthony Mangnall.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I declare my register of interests as well as being a Member of Parliament that represents part of Dartmoor. Madam Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that leave be given to bring a bill to require the Secretary of State to publish proposals for a scheme to incentivise owners of land within Dartmoor National Park to allow enhanced access to that land in certain circumstances and for connected purposes. Madam Deputy Speaker, this bill is specifically focused on Dartmoor National Park and should not be viewed as applicable to other national parks or areas of land across the country. The unquestionable beauty of Dartmoor has been a draw for millennia. For over 10,000 years, mankind has shaped and cultivated this landscape into what it is today. From the hunter-gatherer approach of the Mesolithic and Neolithic ages, to the farmed landscapes of the Bronze and Iron Age periods, to the Saxon defences of Lidford and the prosperity of the late Middle Ages and the early modern era, coupled with the development of industry, it is no wonder that the rich and varied history of Dartmoor has proven to be a draw to resident and visitor alike. This deca-millennial landscape is a working environment that has been created from the outsets of our beginning. And today it is a space in which agricultural, environmental and recreational endeavours have flourished to create jobs, conservation programmes, charitable projects, food and even industry. And as a result, livelihoods have been created, experiences gained and traditions passed down. These three areas are not just important to the practitioners, but they are essential to the fabric of Dartmoor. They must work with one another, not in competition, but in cooperation. Madam Deputy Speaker, this bill seeks to protect and even enhance the rights of those recreational activities on Dartmoor while mitigating the environmental and agricultural damage that has been known to take place within the national park. We are fortunate that Dartmoor's recreational pull is one that attracts thousands of visitors each year, from the Duke of Edinburgh Awards to the 10 tours to sleeping under the stars to simply walking along the national park trails. There is a draw that allows people to connect with nature, explore historic landscapes, witness the beauty of traditional moorland farming. It is precious, it is appreciated, and after the pandemic, it is all the more needed. However, there are some issues that I hope this bill will seek to address. First, recreational activity is critically important to human health, but it should not come at the expense or above that of environmental or agricultural activities that are present upon the moorland. Unfortunately, in recent years, that fine balance between the three areas has fallen out of kilter. Under the Dartmoor Commons Act of 1985, the public have rights and the Dartmoor National Park Authority has the responsibilities, although these are discretionary. However, the introduction and implementation of the Countryside Rights of Way Act 2000 has caused confusion and opaqueness within the law. It is rapidly apparent that we need to see Dartmoor National Park Authority responsible for access management, and that for this to be successful, there needs to be an appropriate level of resourcing. Our success yesterday in calling for an independent inquiry, in which the Minister so gratefully responded, into the management of the moor could well serve as a vehicle to consider this matter and many others that affect those who work and live on the moorland, and in doing so end the confusion between successive laws and ensure that clarification and simplification is brought forward. But it will also require Dartmoor National Park Authority to engage with all stakeholders upon the moorland and ensure that its own composition is inclusive. It's no good, Madam Deputy Speaker, attempting to hold the balance between these important areas if various groups are excluded from the decision-making process. For instance, the fact that landowners have no representation on the Dartmoor National Park Committee should be a cause for concern and immediately rectified. Second, it is particularly welcome to see that Dartmoor National Park Authority has been allocated some £440,000 for the year 23-24. This money is going to play a significant role in helping welcome people to the national park and to ensure that facilities are up to scratch, as well as developing communication and understanding Dartmoor. However, if the Park Authority is to be able to support the agricultural and environmental and recreational interests, then it is going to need an upgrading of those resources. The National Park cannot serve society's recreational, environmental and agricultural demands without the appropriate levels of support. Additional support should come in the form of helping new rangers, wardens to look after the land, to promote the Countryside Code, to prevent fly camping, a form of camping where peripheral areas are camped upon and then left in a state of untidiness, while also working to engage the numerous land managers and various stakeholders. Madam Deputy Speaker, I have learnt in my short time in this place that it is helpful to point out problems, but also to come with solutions. So, as outlined in Chapter 2 of the Glover Review, I would suggest that if we are to continue to preserve Dartmoor as a working environment that caters to multiple sectors and continues to be a welcome environment to residents and visitors and tourists from around the country and indeed the world, that we should propose the following recommendations. That we create a stronger mission to connect all people with our national parks, that we use these landscapes to address the nation's health and well-being. We expand volunteering in our national landscapes. We educate and provide better information on the workings of national parks to the stakeholders that operate with them, and we develop a range of services to work alongside all groups and organisations to promote and protect the national park from damage and degradation. These suggestions have been in the public domain already for some time, and I understand that the government is working on their viability. And it's important that just as we are asking the government to take action, so too Dartmoor National Park Authority engages with the stakeholders and takes on that level of responsibility. To implement these proposals in a speedy manner to the benefit of the public that would see them introduced before any wider piece of legislation or reform would be an effective measure to take people on board, and we should look to speed up the environmental land management scheme proposals. Already in the recently agreed agricultural transition update regarding elms under access engagement, the countryside stewardship is encouraging the following courses of action. Farmers hosting tours of their farms for school pupils and care farm visitors, providing access and maps and signages and preparing sites for access by providing the necessary facilities, accreditation for staff carrying out countryside educational access, and supplementary to enable permissive access across woodland where access is currently limited. It is also welcome that the government is looking to provide new long-term permissive access for recreation, and through the Farming in Protected Landscapes, additional support will be provided in national parks. The government has set the right tone by exploring this, and it can expand beyond permissive access, managing existing access pressures on land and water, and education access. These are all welcome steps, Madam Deputy Speaker, but at present the information and understanding around those rights is hazy at best and opaque at worst. A publication, as my bill suggests, setting out the extensive measures that are on offer, while also informing and working together with Dartmoor, with stakeholders, would not only show the collaborative approach the government is taking, but add further emphasis to the encouragement of diversification. It would also seek to raise awareness of the extensive conservation and environmental programmes that are being run across the area, often privately funded, which are working on landscape recovery, biodiversity improvements, and improving the maintenance of the moorlands, whether through re-wetting programmes, peatland maintenance, leaky dams, and the reintroduction of long-lost species. There is a long list for us to be able to be positive about. Madam Deputy Speaker, this bill seeks to protect the balance of activity on Dartmoor between recreational, environmental and agricultural sectors. It looks to inform, to educate and to promote the work done by the government. By Dartmoor National Park and by stakeholders, we can ensure that all those who enjoy the benefits of Dartmoor National Park continue to do so. If implemented, my proposals will not only see rights, permissive rights and property rights upheld, an important balance and an important factor to consider, it will encourage the continued cooperation and indeed occasional compromise for all those who love this historic and sacred space. I commend this bill to the House. Yeah.